Well, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Oh, it's so wonderful. And I know some of you have had this terrible flu and recovering. So I do appreciate you being here tonight for this. And when, before we began, I was trying to tune into the Dutch language to what you were all saying, because my video was hidden, my microphone was hidden, but I could see and hear you. And yes, there was one person who said, oh yeah, she's a load of rubbish, isn't she? And no, I'm teasing you, I'm teasing you. And I thought, well, that's good. No, I could, what I really want to say is I could feel the excitement building very much. And what a wonderful meeting that you have here with Anita and Frank. What a wonderful opportunity to be able to come together and learn together and just share. And I'm going to talk to you about plants that sing. And it sounds really crazy, doesn't it? And not to some people, but it does sound a little bit crazy. And I'm known for doing lots of experimental things and lots of geeky things. And Anita will be very proud of me because I'm like the BBC. I can switch to a different camera. I've got it all set up for my plants. You see, it's really clever. I try it now. Look, I'm a plant. Isn't that amazing? And now I'm me.
Wow.
Magic. But I think it's called a transition, but anyway. So let me tell you about my passion for this geekiness that I have, because I'm always the one when people are having trouble at the Arthur Findlay College doing a PowerPoint presentation or using a whiteboard. Oh, Helen, oh, my laptop doesn't work. My iPad doesn't work. So they always give it to me because I like pulling things apart and putting them back together and fixing them. So I've always been a bit of a strange one. I should have been an engineer, really, I think. But anyway, there was probably a reason why I wasn't. But anyway, so I have this passion for the music of the plants. And I have been a sound therapist as well for many years, working with different frequencies. And I think it is fascinating. I mean, when we think of sound and how it can heal us, like certain frequencies in the planet, you heard of the Schumann resonance, the natural resonance of the planet, that if we are out of alignment with that, we're not as healthy. And we're finding that's getting harder and harder to find in the world now with all the 5G and stuff and everything. And so all these things fascinate me. I find them very, very interesting, and I'm very passionate about them. But also, when you think of how we use the power of sound, so with very high intensity ultrasound, you can shatter kidney stones in a patient and get rid of them. With a very highly focused, intense ultrasound, you can cure someone of neurological tremor, which is something I have. So if you see me shake, I'm not scared of you. It's my normal thing. But I could have this ultrasound directed in an MRI scanner at a part of my brain that would stop it. They don't have it in Ireland, so I can't have it in Ireland. So maybe one day that will happen. But that is all done through sound. Yeah. It's all done through the power of sound, and that is what is so amazing. And at the beginning this evening, you all came together with some beautiful inspirational music, and it brought you together all in the same moment. And that is a power, isn't it? Yeah. Singing is a power. Listening to meditation CDs, even things like dolphins and whales, and how they help people with autism. And it is incredible. it's limitless, and everything is sound. The universe is pure sound, I believe. So if you are religious, in the beginning was the word. Mm-hmm. And if you agree with Dr. Stephen Hawking, there was a Big Bang. Everything has a sound. Mm-hmm. So it's a fascinating area. But I taught and studied and I gave as a therapy, sound therapy for many years. And I loved it. And I still do a little bit of it now, and I still create my own healing sounds. But something happened to me now. If I think now, I've been married nearly 10 years. This is probably about 18 years ago. And I visited one of the big botanical gardens in the UK. I lived in the UK then. And you know how they have those massive glass houses. Yeah. I don't know what you call them in Dutch, but you know, the massive greenhouses, yeah, with all the tropical trees in and rare plants. Well, there was one of them. And I went in there and I saw ahead of me this queue of people and school children. And I thought, what's going on here? And they were all queuing up to put these headphones on and listen to this tree. And what they'd done is they'd put two sensors, microphones, tiny little microphones into the tree, and they were listening to the tree. And what they were hearing was a heartbeat. It went ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. And it was beautiful. And so I got my place in the queue because I wanted to be a geek and find out. And I wanted to be one of the school children again. I was about 50 then. No. I might have been in my 40s then. I was in my 40s then just. And I got myself into the queue. And when it came to my turn, I put on these headphones and I could hear the heartbeat of the tree. It was magical. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. And then I put my hands on the tree and it went ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. And I took my hands away and it went ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. So I put my hands back and it went ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. I realized the tree was reacting to me. It knew I was touching it and it responded to me. So I know the sensitivity is there of the tree. Yes, it's not going to think like a mammal would think, but it doesn't need to. It just is going to be. But I knew there was some kind of intelligence. And that was really interesting because not too long ago, maybe 3 years ago, we had a BBC documentary with the actress Dame Judi Dench, you know, the one in James Bond who plays M, and a very famous actress in England. And she has a love of trees. And so there was a big BBC documentary of her love of trees and all the science and how trees communicate with each other, and how when one is injured or under attack from insects or disease, they send little chemical messengers from the leaves and through the roots as a network, like fast fiber broadband, mm-hmm, to the trees that need energy. They send hormones, they send vitamins and minerals to each other. And we're measuring this scientifically. And it just blew my mind that, you know, the intelligence of the trees. And I mean, I am a city girl. I grew up in a big city in the UK and I live in the country now. But it was like a completely different planet I've been put on, where I had this appreciation for this intelligence, for this energy, for the ability for the tree to know when to help another tree was incredible. When you think about it, it's amazing. But something clicked with this. And I thought, okay, so they know when I touch them, they react. They know when each other is sick or in danger or needs help. they react. I believe everything has a sound, everything has a frequency, every energy system in our body, every organ, every cell has a frequency. I believe this. Scientists believe it too, and some don't, but maybe they're not as advanced as us. I don't know. But anyway, but we know this. This has actually been tested, and there's many peer-reviewed, very, very good papers in journals about this. And sound is very important to me. So I wondered if I could record the sounds of plants. And that's where this all comes in. And I started to Google and look on YouTube for information. And I found a few things that was very interesting. The first one I found, and I'll switch over to my other studio, was this. Now this. Actually, it might be easier if I come back to Studio A. This is called, I'll hold it up, it's called a Bamboo M. Mm-hmm. And what it is, it's made by a company called Music of the Plants. That's all it is. It's in a bamboo box because they're a very eco-friendly company in Italy. And Damano, they're called. They're like a community of spiritual, eco-friendly people there. They're amazing. Yeah. And that's it. I think it says on the back, Music of the Plants. I don't know if that's reading correctly to you, but anyway, so basically this one runs by an internal lithium battery, which I can charge by USB, just like your handy, your mobile. And then it has a port here where I put in the leads, the sensors, and another port there where I can listen to in headphones, but it does actually have a little built-in speaker at the bottom. It's like a little mandala, it looks like, but that's actually a speaker. So what I do, and I'll show you this, These are the leads, what a mess. I did have this all neat and tidy because I did prepare, but you know what they say about preparation, the best laid plans. So this is a very long lead. Mm-hmm. But what it actually has here are two parts. So on one end, this very, very gentle clip and very smooth on the inside sits on the leaf of a plant. And this spike I have to put into the plant, and it sort of like makes an earth connection, if you like. There has to be a certain amount of moisture in the soil. So I had to remember to water the plant today. And I also, when I put it on the plant, I use this, which is a gel. It's aloe vera gel. So you can, if you like, just spray the leaf with water. It needs a little bit of water for the contact. But I like to put an aloe vera gel because it's got a healing property, and I feel if I make a little bruise on the leaf, it will forgive me if I've put some aloe vera on it. So let's go into Studio B.
Yes.
And have a go, shall we? Shall we see? Shall we see if it works?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, good. Now I've just pressed the button on the side, and it's firing up Music of the Plants. And it's just waiting for a signal at the moment. Okay. Oh, it says bad contact. That's because I haven't attached it to the plant yet. It's very impatient. Or I'm very slow, one or the other. So I'm trying to get this gel on it. No comments, please. Sorry, I'm very naughty as well. I shouldn't say things like that. And then I'm just going to, let's see, I've just got the probe here. So I've got that there now on the leaf, you can see. And here we are, we've got the machine. And I'm going to put this probe into the soil now, as deep as I can, nearest the roots. And we'll see if anything happens. And it better do, because I'll be very embarrassed if it doesn't. We're waiting. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put it through a speaker here. So I've got this, one of these speakers, and I'll put the cable in, and hopefully we can hear it even louder. Okay. Lovely, isn't it?
Wow, yes.
Yeah. Even leaves are
Moving.
Yes, there's two reasons for that. They do react to this, but also there is a fan on the stove in my... So, and it's pointed at the plant. I could turn it away and it might not do it. But anyway, so it's playing, but, so I'll just take that out for a moment. What this is, oh, Studio A we need, right.
Yeah.
What this is a MIDI processor. So those of you who are familiar with sound production and sound creation, the MIDI interface, and what it does is those sensors, like the one that goes in the root and the one that goes on the leaf that creates the circuit, is it measures the electromagnetic energy of the plant. And I think that's fantastic, because I think we are all electromagnetic energy. We talk about the aura, and we talk about sensing energy. We know when we walk in rooms, when the energy feels really heavy or very light, or you know, whether it feels like a very negative atmosphere or a very happy atmosphere. So we're very aware of energy, but there's a lot of work that's been done on this electromagnetic energy that exists in everything, not just things that we think are living or not living, but in everything. We can't get away from it. We are this electromagnetic energy. So what happens is this MIDI processor picks up the electromagnetic signal that is being emitted from the plant, and it's programmed with thousands of different tones and instruments that all relate to a certain frequency. They're all assigned an individual frequency. And what happens is when it hits that frequency, that then converts it into the sound, the note. It decides what note. And you can also program this to have different types of instruments. So if you like strings, if you like drums, there's Japanese taiko drums on here. And that plant would, you know, send you into like on the dance floor if it was feeling very happy today. I think it's happy, but you know, it's crazy stuff, isn't it? It's amazing. I love it. So that's the basis of it, is it's a MIDI processor, but it's working on the electromagnetic energy. Now, this is where I find it really fascinating, is are any of you familiar with Kalian Photography? Any yeses? Put your hand up if there's a yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, aura cameras. You've all heard of aura? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the first type of aura camera was probably the clairvoyant eye, but the second type, the geeky type, was the Kirlian Camera, and that technology first arrived in Russia. It was created in Russia. I believe it was used first in Russia. Maybe the inventor, Kalian, wasn't from Russia, I don't know, but we can look that up, no problem. But it was first used in Russia because they recognized that this electromagnetic energy was important. And I'm just going to share a few little pictures with you. And this is Kalian Photography. So let's see. I don't know. We've got this in the way, haven't we? Yeah. Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah, we see the leaf.
Yeah. Okay. So the first ones were all black and white, and then they were able to create them with color. And I had a student at the Arthur Findlay College who had an original Kalian camera. You have to build them now. Nobody makes them anymore. And you put your hand on this electroplate, and it takes an image of your hand, almost like a kind of X-ray, but it doesn't give you anything like radiation, but it measures your hand and the electromagnetic energy. So you see, if you imagined this leaf was a hand, you would see all the light and the color around it, unless it was a black and white one, and then you'd just see light. So it's rather lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And isn't it amazing when you look at this, how you see the shape of these leaves, it's the shape of the light.
Yeah.
And then I find it interesting that outside it's green, like the chlorophyll. So when a leaf is, breathing in carbon dioxide and giving out oxygen, there's a whole process going on, and chlorophyll, the green, is very important. It becomes more phosphorescent early in the morning, photographers tell me, and they can get pictures nearly like this where they see a bright green outline to any plants that they photograph, so long as it's early morning in the right light. So the Kalian photography is measuring the energy there, and so this leaf has an aura. Now we should be able to, let's see, there we go. Now they've done Kalian photography on a coin. So here we have a United States quarter, a $quarter. And everything has an electromagnetic frequency. Everything, whether it's heat, whether it's chemical, whether it's whatever properties it is. And so you can actually photograph something that we think is not living, and you will still get this electromagnetic frequency. Okay, now this is an apple.
Oh, wow.
Isn't it amazing? And I love this, when it's like a heart, isn't it?
Yes.
Just like a heart. And do you know what I think is amazing? Apart from it's an incredible picture with all these light filaments coming off and the blue, it's like I'm looking at the inside of a body that, like here, it looks like we've got the neck and it's coming down into the lungs. It comes to about here and it branches. And you've got these branches off it. It reminds me so much of like the human body as well. It like a mimic or a counterpart, if you like. Yeah. So I find it fascinating, and something that's a big passion of mine is vegan food and cooking vegan food, and how foods look like what they're good for. Like a walnut has omega-3 and it's good for the brain, and it looks like a brain, Tomatoes have potassium and lycopene, and when you slice them in half like the apple, they look like a heart. So, and they're good for the heart. Those chemicals are very good for the heart and often used in emergency situations in ER rooms where someone's having a cardiac arrest. They need potassium, lycopene. So it's interesting. Now we look at this here, And this is what we call the phantom effect. So this is a physical leaf. And above this line here, it's been cut. So it still has an electromagnetic energy field.
Wow.
It's the same here. This is the physical leaf below, and that's all that's there. But after it was cut, it still left the imprint of the electromagnetic energy that could be photographed by Kalian Photography.
And is that for a long time that would stay? Or would that be the first couple of hours that you would know?
I don't actually know, because I can't find the papers that relate to how long after. So there's going to come a point where it's going to change, obviously, because all energy does change. But there have been some photographs that I've seen that are quite interesting, that, well, I find them really interesting, where the leaf has completely been removed, and for quite a few hours you could photograph with a Kirlian camera the whole electromagnetic perfect outline of that leaf that's no longer there. I don't know if it'd be there the next day, so I'm afraid I can't answer that one, but interesting. And I'm just going to just show you these if you are interested in anything. There's a couple of good books here, and there's lots on Amazon, and I don't know if they're translated into Dutch, but I know there are. I've got these two books and about 3 or 4 others. But just to let you know, if you're interested, there's more you can read about this. So we've got The Secret Teachings of Plants and The Secret Life of Plants. There's a great one called The Secret Life of Trees as well. So yeah, it's great, isn't it? And of course they've done documentaries on them, haven't they? Yeah. I don't think their television skills are as good as mine though, because I've got 2 screens. So we'll give the bamboo a rest now, and I'll show you another version which is completely different how this works, and it's quite accessible, this one. And what you can do, again, there's my expertise with cables. They were all untangled earlier, but there we go. Never mind. So here we have this little baby. It's called a midi sprout.
Midi sprout.
Midi sprout. It's cute, isn't it? So in this little input there, that's where the sensors go. And these are the sensors. They're just two little very, very gentle, not serrated, but crocodile clips. So they will go in there. Okay. And I will attach these to the plant in a moment. Now this end, this is where it gets really interesting. So this is the MIDI box. This is the MIDI box, but they have a counterpart as an app. It's great. So it will work through the app and do its own thing, or you can create, using the sounds programmed in the MIDI sprout on the app, your own music. Okay. So I'll show you that in a moment, because this is really like Christmas for me. So there's my iPhone. This is an old iPhone. I deliberately use an iPhone 6 Plus because it still has the headphone socket, and then I can plug it into a speaker. You can do it by recording the screen and then extracting the sound, but I thought, hey, you know, I'll still use it. So I have this app here, which is the MIDI sprout. And when I tap it, that comes up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, oh, what happened there? I've lost you now. There we are. My screen share decided to pop up because I moved it. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, into the MIDI sprout, I'm going to put the connector and it's got a lightning connector into there, connected to the plant, and we're going to hear the MIDI sprout. But the MIDI sprouts are quite expensive, and they've got a new version now. They were a Kickstarter project, and now they've brought out a Bluetooth version, and it's probably, you know, I don't know, I think it's the same technology, it's just Bluetooth, so you don't have to worry about having the inputs, you know, it'll work with anything, whereas this will only work with an iPhone, although you can get a lead for an Android if you order them. So this app will work, and I'll check the sounds up. Sound up, yeah, just by touch. It's got the same programming as the MIDI processors. So can you hear it?
Yes.
Yes.
It will react to my touch. So I'm triggering the frequencies that are pre-programmed. So I got a singing iPhone now. But now we'll use it with the plant now, because what I do is I'll plug it in to the actual MIDI sprout, and then we'll attach the plant. And again, we will use some aloe vera gel. So I'm going to change to the other studio. And it's good having more than one studio, isn't it? And I will untangle it, of course. So you're looking at me untangling a load of wires, which is very exciting. Oh dear, come on. The gel's very lazy today. So I'm just putting, let's just put one there. And I get a little bit more gel on that one. And we'll try that leaf. Okay. You know what was funny when you said the plants are moving? We thought, you know, we can have dancing plants as well. But no, we just have musical plants today. So here's the MIDI sprout, and I'm just going to turn it on now. And it is directly connected to the phone. Does it want to work? Just check it's all plugged in. Oh, it's not working today. It did work earlier. There we go. Made me sound like a liar. So I'm, as you can see, in, let's see if I can just get there. I'm not touching it now, and it's playing direct from the plant. I find it quite hypnotic.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And every plant sounds slightly different. But even the same plant, say whether it needs water or whether it's sick or whether it's really healthy, will sound different, and it will sound different at different types of times of day, of course. It will, and I guess, you know, it'll sound different how you react to it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've recorded it before where I've, you know, gone out and I've had my headphones on because everyone's got sick of hearing singing plants in my house. So I put my headphones on,
Yeah.
and I've been listening to them all connected up to a plant outside. And nice sunny day. And then I go and touch the plant and it completely changes, like the tree. So I know it's not just, you know, some gimmick where you've just put in a load of sounds and once you connect it up, it triggers anything random. It reacts to you. The same with the, what did I do with it? The bamboo, the bamboo M, that little one there. That one, it reacts, you know, when you touch the plant, the music changes, it reacts. So, and that's without touching the app. You can, if you've got iPhone or Android, just put MIDI Sprout, MIDI Sprout in the App Store or Google Play Store, and you can download this and just have some fun with it, you know. But I've turned the sound off on that now. But so there's loads of fun you can have with it. Now, you might think, well, what's the point, you know, and that's fine. We all have things we're interested in, don't we? But what was really interesting was I started recording these plants and their songs. And the first time I played it in the bedroom at night, had trouble sleeping because my mind's always thinking of, well, what can I create and invent? And you know, it's always whizzing away. And I put the sound of the plants on and I Bluetoothed the phone to the speaker, the big speaker in the bedroom. And we just can't remember falling asleep and woke up 9 hours later feeling great.
Wow.
So it really is wonderful. And I was talking to my doctor about it and the theory behind it. And she said, yes, I understand. You know, she's very into her science, obviously. And she said, oh, would you record me some? And I said, yeah. I said, next time I come in, I'll bring some on a CD for you. She said, yes, great. So I did that. I took her a CD of some plant songs. And then she rang me the next day. Now, my GP, I have a very good relationship with her. She's almost like a friend, but it's professional, you know, relationship. But I swear in front of her and she swears in front of me, and, you know, it's cool. And I call her by her first name. In Ireland, they call all the doctors by the first name. You don't say Dr. So-and-so. So my doctor, Claire, is Claire. So Claire, he said, Helen, that's amazing. I said, what's amazing, Claire? And she said, well, she said, I haven't been able to sleep for a year. Her mother passed to the spirit world and they were very close. And she lived with all this troubled mind and guilt. She was a doctor and she couldn't help her own mother.
Yeah.
And, you know, she had all this, and she would lie awake at night, churning over her mind. What could I have done differently? What was the point of me training to be a doctor and I couldn't even help my own mother? So she had this trauma and she couldn't sleep. She said, it's the first time I've slept since my mother died.
Wow.
And I just want to say thank you. And I'm being asked all the time now to record them. And I've recorded some, and you can download them, you can buy them, there's some free on YouTube. But I had a medium, a well-known medium, some of you may know her, a lady from the UK, and she said, would you do some recordings for me, Helen? I said, of course I will, anything, you know, what would you like? And she said, well, my mother and my father each had a special rose. The father's favorite rose was the blue moon rose, and it really is a beautiful rose. And the mother's favorite rose was the peace rose. So she said, but I'm not coming to Ireland. She said, what I'll do is I'll find a nursery that delivers to you. And, you know, can you record them? I said, yeah, but how do I get them back to you? You should know. Then keep them. Then I know a piece of my mother and my father are with you, which was very, very beautiful. So a few days later, I received by courier this, in a big pot, this blue moon rose, nice and healthy, flowers on it, still, you know, it was ready to go into the garden, and the peace rose. And so I recorded them. And we've got them now in the garden here. And it's wonderful because I sent her the link to download the recordings of them. She didn't want them on CD. She wanted to download them and put them on her iPad. And she said, you know, whenever I want to feel happy, I just put on either my mum or my dad, she said. I just put on either my mum or my dad. And I thought that was wonderful, a really, really wonderful way to think of it. You know, she remembers them with their favorite roses, and here is the song of those roses, and she can listen to it and have happy memories of her mum and her dad. And so that is the music of the plants. And where it'll go, I don't know. The funny thing is, you can get sensors. You know, when you have a heart attack, hopefully you don't, but you know what happens when people... I'm not joking. You know, with I mean, I am, it sounds ridiculous the way I say it, but you know how when you're having your heart tested and they put those funny little sticky gel things on you, skin tacks, we call them here, for, you know, having an ECG for your heart, yeah? So you get them, you put the clips on them, and you listen to the song of you, because you have an electromagnetic field. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Now, that, I think, is very special, because many years ago, I was working in a hospital for people who were recovering from head injuries. I was in my 20s and I was a social worker there. And I remember coming onto the ward one day, and there was a woman there with these really big headphones on. And I said to one of the nurses, I said, what's that about? I mean, they look a bit big, you know, they were huge. I said, oh, she's listening to the cows. I said, what? She said, she's listening to the sound of the cows. And I said, why? And she said, because she's got depression. She had a head injury, and that's often one of the things that's triggered as they're recovering, as the brain is recovering. There's a lot of depression. I said, but why would listening to cows help her depression? I mean, I couldn't imagine why listening to the cows mooing. And she said, here, I'll get you some. And she got me these great big headphones. I put them on and I'm listening to this moo. And apparently it was great. It really helped people produce the balance of chemicals that the brain needs to help with depression. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was incredible. And that was another, if you like, a very early introduction to me to the application of sound and well-being and feeling good. But if I did that, so I get my skin tacks as if I'm having an ECG, and I put them on and I listen to myself. I did it on my face once. And I wish I hadn't, because it really hurt pulling off the little skin tag. But anyway, that's another story. I'm going off road here. If you listen to your own song and the beauty of it, when you're feeling a bit low and you hear these beautiful sounds like you hear in the midi sprout or the bamboo, and you realize you are a beautiful song as well, singing in this universe, a unique song. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
You are. And if we could, and some people can, hear that song, then I think the world will be a better place. I really do. If we thought of everything, what's the frequency of their beauty, and what does that sound like, rather than whether they're angry or whether they're wealthy or whether they're poor or homeless. What is the beauty of that first? Then I think the world would be a better place. And I just want to finish before we have questions on one story. Part of this sound journey, which led me to recording the plants' energies and their songs, was when NASA first released the NASA space sounds. Have you heard them?
No.
You can Google it, you'd be on YouTube, but NASA did the same thing. So the satellite Voyager recorded all the frequencies of the planets and the solar system as it was traveling around. And just like a radio and a telephone and the MIDI and the MIDI processor converts it into sound. Well, if you listen to the sound of planet Earth, if you haven't heard it before, it'll make you cry. It's so beautiful. You can buy the album on iTunes and places like that, but you will be able to hear it on YouTube free first and other places, or a snippet somewhere. So it's NASA Space Sounds. And every planet has a song. And it has the sound of the world. And it has 2 recordings of the sounds of planet Earth, 2 different songs. I can see you're looking it up, aren't you now? You're seeing if it's there. I can see. Good, because it's great. It's so wonderful. Put it through the speaker really loud afterwards. And, and they're different. And I sort of think, I wonder if we had something like we got everyone to stop at a certain time of day in different time zones, but it was the same time. And just, I don't know whether it's send healing, think thoughts of peace. And what the song of Earth would be like then, because it's always changing. But here is the last bit of the story. So I'm working in Germany in a place called Bloemen, which is near Baden-Baden, if you haven't been to that part of Germany. And in Bloemen, I was working for the weekend. I was doing a weekend seminar, a demonstration on the Friday, and on the Thursday, I was just arrived. And they said, we have a circle we run every fortnight, and it's tonight. Would you do us the honor of coming and taking our circle? I said, of course I will, no problem. So I went, and there were about 20 people, and one of the people there was a little elderly lady. She was in her 80s. And we did this meditation. I said, I'm just going to play the sounds of Earth, the song of Earth. And just sit with your eyes closed and enjoy it. And so I played it. And she had tears running down her cheeks and a big smile at the same time. And afterwards, she came up to me and said, can I speak to you, Helen? I said, of course you can. And we had to have a translator because she couldn't speak a lot of English. And my German is it's as good as my Swahili, you know. But anyway, she said, Helen, she said, when I was 15 years old, the Second World War had just ended. And my father, who was an officer in the German army, came home and was he was mentally ill because of the war and the trauma and the things he had seen and the things he didn't know that were happening. And he as you can imagine, and he was a good man, but as you can imagine, he was traumatized like everybody else who lived through that time. So they went on holiday to a lake. And while she was there, she lay on the sunbed just after lunch, and she didn't wake up for 12 hours. But when she woke up, she could see the night sky, and it was beautiful, starry night sky. She could see the Milky Way. It was so beautiful. But she could hear all the planet's songs. And she said, Helen, she said, that is what Earth really does sound like. And I went through the others like Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Venus, all of them. She said, yes. that is what they really do sound like. And she said, I'm over 80 now, and I've never been able to tell anyone because nobody would understand. And now it's recorded, and I heard it. And she felt like a big weight was lifted, because all her life she thought, if I ever tell anyone of that experience, they're going to think I was on drugs, or I was stupid, or I was deluded.
Yeah.
And now it's there recorded, and we can all hear it. And she was so happy. So there are so many positives to this, so many positives. It's absolutely wonderful. So I want to say thank you for letting me share my passion for the plants and the sound of the plants and the song of the plants and a little bit of other information that went with it.